some drink deals and some specials. They got the Nugs on special tonight here at Hudson's, and $5 local or Hudson's loggers as well. Come on down, say hi. I've got some GCs to give away too. We've got the 20s, got a big stack of those, absolutely, and I've got the 10s. So come on down and I will hook you up. Just say hi. That's all it takes. I've also got some giveaways too. I've got some lanyards and some EST decals if you are so inclined. Tom Gazzola and Zach to come with you. We'll be joined by Arpon Basu a little bit later on from The Athletic as well. He did the rink report with me, and Arpon will give us the Habs side of things as both teams, like I said earlier, off the top, look at to bounce back after losing Saturday night, of course, for the Oilers. That was a hell of a game against the Colorado Avalanche, 3-2 overtime loss. 0.5 seconds left. Arturi Lehkonen, again, like he did in 2022, crushing Oil Country's dreams in the dying seconds. But you know what? That was a hell of a game. The Oilers had an opportunity. They fought hard. And I'm very much looking forward to the next two games between the Oilers and the Avs. The Montreal Canadiens, meanwhile, coming off a loss in Calgary on Saturday night, they are basically mopping up the rest of this season. They are without head coach Marty St. Louis, Trevor Letowski manning the bench for the Habs for the foreseeable future. Family thing for St. Louis, a bit of a slip up. I think it was David Savard in his intermission interview talking about St. Louis and his son. We were told yesterday at the arena, just, hockey only. Let's not talk about what's going on with Marty St. Louis. I feel like the Habs in time will reveal and release more details when they see fit. So obviously we will respect their wishes, but that's the extent of what we know about the Marty St. Louis situation. And listen, like if you're the Montreal Canadiens, this is not a season where you're in the throes of a playoff race. You're not really building anything right now in the last 15 or so games. They're just looking to get out of the regular season, maybe pick up a few wins and look to see if they have a few people that they want to keep around for next year and see if they want to cut bait on some others. That's just how it is. We saw that many years here in Oil Country, and the Habs are in a rebuild situation right now. So that is where they are at. Now, if you're the Edmonton Oilers, you want to take advantage. Simple as that. Look at the bounce back. So we'll see how they handle the situation. Also, you can text us, 780-218-9999, and you can get in on the nasty chat as well. Keep those texts coming in. We appreciate it very much. Good evening to everybody that's in on the nasty chat. And I will try to get my video quality up as well. All right. You know what we're going to do? Zach to come, you there? Zach to come. Okay. You know what we're going to do? Let's. Here. Oh, there he is. Where are you? Are you in studio? Let's see you.
Oh my gosh.
I know you're busy over there.
Oh, things are going wow. Here. The video
Are you a vampire?
I look like it. I don't know what's going on with this camera. Hold on. I got it here. Hold on.
Oh, you're going to fix that? Look at this. Look at this. Look at that. Look at this. Look at that.
Oh, we're checking it right now.
All right. Have a look.
Oh, I could see it.
All right. You know what we're going to do, Zach, to come? Let's run the rink report. We'll get some stuff sorted. Oh, there he is.
You can
Very
see me
nice.
now. Oh, everything's going wrong.
Everything. Let's run the rink report. Then we'll get into starting lineups, and we'll get things sorted out as we get going here on the Oil Stream. So this is going to be, are you cool with that, Zach, to come? I just want to double check.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah, we got it.
All right. Okay. We're going to go to myself and Arpon Basu from The Athletic Montreal. Excellent reporter for sure. And he gives us the Habs side of the story. Here is the rink report with Arpon Basu. Hi atop Ice District, it is the Rink Report. Tom Gazzola with Arpon Basu from The Athletic Montreal, covering the Habs. Obviously, Oilers Canadiens Tuesday night. An Edmonton team coming off an exciting loss Saturday against the Colorado Avalanche. I know this is the longest trip of the year for the Habs. It's another tough season, Arpon, but give us a summary of what's happened this year with the Montreal Canadiens. We'll get to the coaching stuff right away, too.
Yeah, sure. Well, you talk about an exciting loss. I mean, the Canadian season is basically defined by exciting losses. It's kind of been their mantra in a way that, they've not had results over the last 2 or 3 weeks, but they've really played some quality teams and played them tough. I mean, they had 2-1 loss to Boston most recently, but, they've had Carolina, Nashville, Tampa, Florida. They've just really gone. This is really a difficult part of their schedule. And after the Edmonton game, they're going to Vancouver, Seattle, and then Colorado. And so it's really a big test for them. Obviously, with Martin St. Louis not around, it only adds to it. But, when you're in the stage of a build that the Canadiens are in, you can say exciting loss or competitive loss or whatever. They can take things from these losses, and they've really shown some growth in their game. The talent is missing, and I think we're going to see that against the Oilers. But, the structure and some of the things that they're trying to build that they hope will last beyond this season, those things are starting to come into place.
A lot of encouraging signs, I'm going to assume, at times this year from some of the younger guys on the team. Obviously, some high-end talent. We know Caden Gooley here from his time as an Oil King. Local guy, Slavkovsky being the first overall pick a couple of seasons ago. Cole Caulfield, super exciting. Are we starting to see the fruits of that labor and all of that starting to rise with these guys? And are you starting to see signs that this is indeed going somewhere positive?
Well, I mean, there's a lot of not similarities, but there's a process here that obviously took forever in Edmonton, despite the presence of a Connor McDavid, a Leon Draisaitl, RNH, what have you. It's not enough to just bring in talent and put them together. Like, actually building a team and getting over that hump. Right. I don't think I need to tell your viewers how how difficult that is. Yeah. So the Canadiens have to try and navigate that in a certain way. And so you see, you mentioned Gooley, Slavkovsky, Nick Suzuki, Cole Caulfield. Right. Like, that's the core of the team moving forward. David Reinbacher, their number 1 pick last season, 5th overall, just got assigned to their AHL team, big right shot defenseman. So integrating all these, they have a ton of prospects, they have a ton of picks, but it's not that simple. No. Again, as Edmonton knows, as Buffalo knows, as Ottawa's seeing, I mean, it's really, there's another step there that the Canadiens really need to nail. And that's the tricky part. Like, no one in the league really knows how to do that. Like, there's not a clear path. A lot of Canadiens fans are like, just lose, and get number 1 picks. And you tell me, does that work all the time?
No, it doesn't. It didn't. Trust me.
Yeah, exactly. So they're trying to navigate something that's not going to be that. Yep. And they're trying to come out of the build starting next season, frankly. I mean, I really think they expect to be closer to a playoff spot, maybe not make the playoffs, but have some meaningful games played at this time of year. Even Buffalo, you see, like, they're actually making a push to get in, and that's kind of what they want, the position they want to be in. Mm-hmm. But you can see a core. Like, it is there. Now, is it good enough? It depends. I think with the standard of talent they have as their core, they're going to have a much more talented supporting cast than you would, say, here in Toronto, where you have obviously the high-end number 1 overall pick, a couple of other guys, and then you have to fill in around the edges at league minimum salaries or lower salaries and sort of make the most of those. I don't think the Canadiens are going to be that kind of team. They're going to probably be a deeper team with more, like, a higher floor of talent than maybe some of these top-heavy teams are.
Think of Seattle immediately when you say something like that.
That's it, exactly, yeah. So, like, a Matty Beniers, is he going to be a superstar player? No, but he's a really good piece in Seattle to build around. But you need to surround that guy with talent. So the Canadiens are going to be like that. And what Suzuki's shown, I mean, honestly, he's one of the top goal scorers in the league since the All-Star break. It's kind of an undertold story, but I think he's 4th in the NHL in goals since the All-Star break. And so Caulfield's really rounding out his game. I had a long conversation with him about that today. Slavkovsky's found himself. Like, he's basically, this is the player they drafted, and so now he can build from here. He's only 19, but it's not that superstar level of talent, so they're going to need to go about it a different way, and I think they're happy about that, because I don't know, Toronto and Edmonton haven't won anything yet, despite having the top talent in the league. So maybe there's another way of going about it for Montreal.
The 3-headed goalie monster is no longer. What relief comes with that, getting Jake Allen out of here? I don't know what his future was with the organization anyway, but now Sam Montembeault, Caden Primo are here, 2 young-ish guys.
Young for goalies.
For goalies, yeah, good point. But does that help at all? Does that at least make the picture clearer, and how has that helped these guys?
Well, it's definitely helped Caden Primo. I mean, Sam Montembeault kind of took the reins of the net when he signed his extension. That was the moment when Jake Allen kind of knew that the writing was on the wall. It was a difficult trade to pull off. The goalie market dried up completely. Like, this was a team I think that had a lot of interest in Jake Allen early in the season. They decided to ride it out. It kind of fixes itself over the course. And I know I think the Canadiens were actually in talks of maybe taking Jack Campbell off their hands at some point. There were some conversations to that effect. But you lose Edmonton as a team that needs goaltending. Carolina sort of righted itself. Even Toronto earlier in the season, you were wondering. So now all of a sudden you don't have that many teams. I think there's basically LA, Jersey, couple of others who really needed a goalie, and the fact that they were able to find one, even though they had to eat half of Allen's salary, was a pretty big accomplishment, frankly. I mean, they clear the path here for Caden Primo to get some games. It's going to be Sam Montembeault against the Oilers, but Primo played a pretty decent game in Calgary, even though he gave up a bunch of goals at the end. The team didn't play well in front of him, but he is maybe a goalie for the future. Like, that's the thing with goalies, you never know. But but the Canadiens have two really interesting goalie prospects. One's at Boston College, Jacob Fowler, and there's a Russian kid in the MHL who's really ripping up the junior league in Russia. They were both drafted in the last draft. So they just basically want to find a bridge, and Montembeault is that guy. I mean, he's got 3 more years on his contract after this one.
All right, something that is also temporary, we talk about a smaller bridge, is the situation Marty St. Louis stepping away from the team, Trevor Letowski stepping into St. Louis' role. What do we know about this situation? How is this team going to go about handling it? Just what is the light that you can shed on that right now?
Not a whole lot. I mean, other than David Savard kind of slipping up a bit in the first intermission interview in Calgary, mentioning that they want to win for Marty's son, we don't know anything. All we know is it's got to be pretty serious for Marty to leave the team. Yep. And so I think everyone in the organization, and frankly everyone in general, is just hoping for the best for his family. But otherwise, this is going to be the situation for an indefinite period of time. I mean, there's no real urgency to what the Canadiens are doing here. So, I mean, obviously it makes it easier to let Marty handle whatever's going on with his family, and we all hope for the best for him. But for now, Letowski's a guy that works hand in hand with Marty in many ways. He's kind of the number 2, the first mate of the coaching staff. So it's definitely a different communication style, but they share a lot of the same beliefs hockey-wise. I don't think Trevor, and he mentioned today, he's not going to come in and start making wholesale changes and doing everything. But it is, it's a sticky situation. I mean, the Canadiens have not made David Savard available to talk ever since he had that slip-up in intermission, understandably so. But, this is not the type of story I really like to dig on. And so that's basically where it's at. We'll see. Practice today looked like a Canadiens practice. They did a couple of very long and a couple of drills we hadn't seen in a while. But Letowski mentioned today he's in regular contact with Marty St. Louis, so it's not as if he's completely out of the picture, but obviously he has bigger priorities to deal with right now.
All right, when we watch the Oilers and the Habs in the arena behind me, what are we expecting, or what should we expect to see from the Montreal Canadiens?
Well, I think, as I mentioned, they've played some tough opposition, pretty tough. I think you're going to see an interesting matchup kind of game, like Nick Suzuki's line with Cole Caulfield and Juraj Slafkovsky have been facing the top lines. Obviously, they don't control that here, and so I'm going to be curious to see what the Oilers do if they're going to if they're just going to send McDavid out against them. But he's been doing really well against some tough opposition. I mean, I mentioned that trip earlier. It was like Barkov, and then it was Kucherov, and then it was like O'Reilly in Nashville and Aho in Carolina. He's really come into his own as a two-way forward, and so let's see if that works against the most dangerous player in the world, But the other one, you mentioned the local guy like Caden Gooley and Mike Madsen are probably going to get a lot of that as well. And Gooley's really taken a step this year. Sherwood Park native, obviously grew up there, and so he's very excited to be home. He's turning into what looks like a pretty high-end shutdown defenseman. The offensive numbers are not there, but you'll watch his mobility and his physicality and just his defensive awareness for a guy who's 22, playing 23, 24 minutes a night. Pretty impressive against, again, some top opposition. So we'll see how McDavid does against him.
Gooley's old teammates from the Oil Kings taking in the practice today. Very nice to see. Very nice to see you back in town. I know you love this place. You spent a lot of time here during the bubble. Arpon, thanks for the time.
All right, my pleasure, man.
That is the EST Rink Report. Oilers and Habs Tuesday night.
Huge thank you to Arpon Basu, great guy from the Athletic Montreal. And yes, we spent a lot of time together during the bubble times. Thank you, Kylie, for all of those months when things were crazy back in 2020. And nice enough Arpon was to hop on with me yesterday for the Rink Report. Check him out, Arpon Basu, on Twitter. And if you're a Habs fan, I'm sure you already follow him. He is excellent and great guy. So really appreciate him hopping on. Caden Gooley, a little story to tell about Caden Gooley. I tweeted it out if you didn't catch it. It's kind of neat. Not really a crazy story or anything like that, but if you're into this kind of thing, you could appreciate it. But Caden Gooley has been using Bauer sticks this year, and for some reason they gave him CCM sticks in his pattern and his model, but he prefers the Bauer. So he only got 6 sent to him as a sample to use this year. Busted his last Bauer and really, really wants to go back to the Bauer. So he had Bauer send 6 of his sticks to Vancouver, thinking that he would get through Calgary and Edmonton with whatever the 1 or 2 sticks that he had left. That didn't happen. Broke his last one in Calgary. Goes to Rogan Dean from the Edmonton Oil Kings, excellent equipment manager who's been there since day one. And he says, Rogues, do you have any of my old sticks from a couple years ago? Rogan's like, I might. Like, let me go look in our storage. So Rogan goes downstairs beneath the bowels of Rogers Place, and turns out he had one fresh stick, Caden Gooley stick, from a couple seasons ago, ready to go, and was nice enough to give it to Gooley, and he will use it tonight. And then the other thing that he had, because Gooley really likes these Bowers, apparently, he had a couple of sticks that were very similar to Gooley's, almost identical, and they were Jaeger Gugelkas out of Coaldale, Alberta, and he provided Gooley with a couple Gugelkas as well. So we pass that along to Gene Principe. You might see it on the broadcast tonight, but it's just a neat little story that popped up, and that's how good of a guy that Rogan Dean is. That's how good of an equipment manager he is, and lucky for Caden Gooley that Rogan had one of his old sticks hanging around in the storage area down in the bowels of Rogers Place. So a lot of people, when I tweeted it out, said, slash his stick. And he's got some Gugelkas in case he needs them. I hope I'm saying that name correctly, Jaeger. And so just kind of one of those neat little stories. So, we'll see Caden Gooley using his old stick from a couple years ago. Yes, the technology does change year to year, but for the most part, they're generally the same. And if it's one of his sticks and he feels good using it, it's a mental thing for the players, as you know. You can text us 780-218-9999. You can also hit us up in the nasty chat if you're watching on our YouTube channel. It's the Oil Stream pregame show. Tom Gazzola, Zach to come with you. And we'll be joined by Sean Bell on the postgame show. Cass is off tonight. He's a busy boy. That Matty Cassian, Joaquin Gage may stop by. We shall see. He's also a busy man, too. Norman at Combine texting in. Norm says, hey, Tom, have a great night. Go Oilers, 6-2 win from Norm. I want to get some texts. I want to get some input from our viewers and our listeners. I will throw out the question of the night. Which Original Six team is the most hated in your opinion, and why? 780-218-9999. You can text us, or if you're watching, of course, the nasty chat. Which Original Six team is the most hated in your opinion, and why? I don't think the Habs are number one for pretty much everybody. I can imagine there's going to be a lot of Leafs. There might be some Bruins in there, but Leafs usually take the cake. Red Wings have been good for a long time, not so much lately. And people tend to like Chicago and Boston. Yeah, Boston is one that people tend to hate. So let us know your thoughts. So what is your Original Six team that's the most hated in your opinion, and why? Zach to come, what say you, pal?
I think the most hated one's got to be the Toronto Maple Leafs. When you look at it, I mean, just nobody today at least seems like they enjoy the Leafs at all, unless you're a Leafs fan. Of course, it's always fun to make fun of the Leafs, even though they are a good team. I think they're the most hated today. Maybe in the past, like way back in the day, the Habs won so many. I mean, over 20 or something? So
24.
They can be. Yeah, 24. So if you're winning that many championships, you're going to be hated. I mean, it's like I guess nowadays, like the Patriots or something. If you're winning that much, people are going to hate you just because you're that good. So
I think it would be Toronto. I'm with you on that, Zach, to come for sure. The Hawks, obviously, with what's gone on with them in recent years, certainly didn't win any new fans over. Maybe Bedard will change that. Obviously, a shuffling and changing of the guard, which kind of ushers out the old era, let's say, not necessarily a dynasty, but a glory decade for the Chicago Blackhawks. Boston has been very good for a while. I think they could piss a lot of people off. And then I look at, actually, yeah, I'll just stick with the Toronto Maple Leafs. You know what? I'll leave that there.
And that's the easy pick. Like close second
easy.
was
and I
definitely.
think it's the right pick.
Yeah. Oh, for sure. Blackhawks were a close second, of course, because of what has been happening. But I think it will turn around, especially now that they're gonna they have the best odds or close to the best odds right now of landing the top pick as well. So their team's gonna be really good once again, and people are gonna keep watching them. People are gonna want them to win. There's a lot of Blackhawks fans that I know, and the history is pretty good there. Like most of the original 6 teams, if not all of them, have a fantastic history. I gotta say, I think the least hated one has to be the Rangers, because I don't really.
People don't think about them. I was just gonna say that.
Yeah, it's like I've never heard anyone say they hate them.
World.
Yeah, they're kind of like they're neutral. I've never met a hockey fan that has said, "Man, I dislike the Rangers," unless they're an Islanders fan or something like that. But I don't see many of those.
Fan.
True.
Yes.
Yeah. Very true. But
the Rangers are a good team. They're likable. There was a time in the 90s, early 2000s where they had the budget to basically buy anybody that they wanted to. Glenn Sather was running them. He went and gave Bobby Holik an absolutely horrendous contract, unless you're Bobby Holik and you love that contract because you were making a ton of cash not doing a hell of a lot on the ice. But the Rangers kind of fall by the wayside. I think the other teams that we've mentioned get a lot of the attention. But for people around here, at least I know like a lot of Italians love the Montreal Canadiens. I was with family over the weekend, and my cousin Luke, his 2 sons, Jonathan and Christopher, they were talking hockey, and they just started playing hockey. And I asked them who their favorite team was, and they're like, Habs. Well, what about the Oilers? I don't like the Oilers. And that comes from my cousin Luke and my uncle Johnny, a first-generation Canadian family that came from Italy, that just fell in love with the Habs as opposed to the Leafs, because at the time it was 2 different teams in Canada. You either chose the Leafs or the Habs. For whatever reason, sounds like a lot of Italians love the Habs, and my cousin passed it down to his boys, and they're like 7-5, and they're going, yeah, we like the Habs, we don't like the Oilers. And I thought that was hilarious, and I was like, okay, well, have fun this weekend, boys.
Well, where in Canada though did they go? Were they in Ontario? Like
our family? No, it came from Italy to here.
Oh, okay.
Actually, Lac La Biche for like half a year.
Out of all places,
there. Yeah, and then to Edmonton eventually in like the early 50s. So, it was just because you had the 2 teams. You had French team, and then you had the English team, and the Italians seem to have gravitated towards the Montreal Canadiens. And to this day, you see a lot of Italians who are big Habs fans. Now, I think some have changed over to Oiler fans, and there's generations, and the ties to the Habs have kind of frayed a little bit. But for the most part, I think a lot of Italians go, yeah, we like the Montreal Canadiens, and my cousin included, my side of the family included. Interesting, isn't it?
Yeah. No, you love to see it. I mean, even living here, especially rooting for a different team and still standing behind it, and then now your cousins, like the whole lineage of it is just insane.
It is kind of neat. It
is
kind of insane. Yeah. A lot of people in Saskatchewan love the Leafs. Wendell Clark. And there's deeper ties there. And I think a lot of Saskatchewan people probably still have an affinity for the Red Wings because of Gordie Howe. More so, you see a lot of Leafs fans around Saskatchewan, at least in my experiences. So Let us know your thoughts on the question of the night. Which Original Six team is the most hated in your opinion? 780-218-9999 and via the nasty chat. I'm going to get to a few here via the nasty chat. This one from Ace96 says, Leafs traded Hyman. They are doomed. Leafs did not re-sign Hyman. The doomed part, TBD. But great pickup for the Oilers for sure. Ace96. Zedmo says, the Rangers are Bettman's team. That's why I hate them. Zedmo, good evening. Good to hear from you. Jason the Acadian says, I don't mind the Rangers. Only Original Six team I can get behind. And Bobby LaFrench, not surprisingly, says, Vive la Quebec. All right. Keep those texts coming in. 780-218-9999. Jeffy says, so the Habs are Mafia's team? I didn't say that. You don't talk about Fight Club. Abutski says, I dislike the Rangers because the Flyers are my favorite Eastern team. You know what? That's a great rivalry. Joel says, Toronto because they suck after Matt Sundin leaves. And Timberwoodsman, well played, says simply leaves. The proper way to spell Leafs, or leaf in plural. Norman at Combine chimes in and says, Leafs, Habs my favorite OG6 team. Thank you, Norm. 780-218-9999 or via the nasty chat, which Original Six team is the most hated in your opinion and why? Let us know. I'll read those as we proceed through the evening. Let's get to starting lineups. For tonight's action, the Oilers rolling with McDavid between Nugent-Hopkins and Hyman, Draisaitl centering Foegele and McLeod, Adam Henrique between Evander Kane and Connor Brown, and then Sam Carrick, who picked up his first goal as an Oiler the other night with Matthias Janmark and Corey Perry. If there's any changes, we'll let you know, but that's how they skated yesterday at practice. Today, optional skate down at the rink. As for the defense, Ekholm with Bouchard, Nurse with Troy Stetcher, Kulak with CC. Out for tonight, Vinny Desharnais and Derek Ryan. Desharnais, hand, finger, something bothering him. He's blocked about 1 million shots off of both of his hands. Got into that fight with Josh Manson on Saturday. That was a good fight. And Desharnais being held out. He did practice yesterday. I believe he did go out on the ice today for the optional morning skate. Just a handful of guys went out there for a quick spin. And I think he was one of them, if I remember correctly. He says he's good to go when need be, but obviously something bothering him to the point where they're going to let Stetcher play tonight and take Desharnais out. As for the Montreal Canadiens, here is the lineup we're anticipating. Nick Suzuki between Cole Caulfield and Yuri Slavkovsky. Pardon me. Alex Newhook between Joshua Waugh and Joel Armia. Jake Evans with Brendan Gallagher and Josh Anderson. Then Colin White with Michael Pezzetta and Raphael Harvey Pinard. On defense for the Habs tonight, Michael Matheson with Caden Gooley, the former Oil King, using the one stick left at Rogers Place from his time as an Oil King. Shout out to Rogan Dean for getting Gooley that twig tonight. Arber Xhekaj with David Savard. Jordan Harris with Jonathan Kovacevic. Out for the Habs, Christian Dvorak, IR, torn pectoral. Kirby Dach, IR, torn ACL and MCL. Tanner Pearson and Jaden Struble are the other guys that are out, the healthy scratches, if you will. Had a great conversation yesterday with Arber Xhekaj about his time working at Costco. We could relate. I spent 4 years working in the Costco Tire Center. He worked almost a year at Costco, and we had a great conversation. He said he enjoyed his time in the Garden Center. Arber Xhekaj, one of the toughest guys in the NHL. And it was a very pleasant conversation. One thing, Zach, to come that we both learned working at Costco as young men in our early 20s, our backs hurt. I can't remember what he was doing. There's something, he was doing some heavy lifting, I think in the mornings. He took some morning shifts, and then I was busting tires in the tire shop. But it was fun, and we had some interesting stories that we exchanged. Nice to talk to Arber Xhekaj about our Costco experiences.
Out of all people,
obviously. I know. A great story. Like a hardworking, I think he's from Hamilton, hardworking guy, hardworking family. you know what? You need to make some bucks, man, and it's not always given to you. So he went out and made some money working at Costco, and I did the same thing about 17 years ago, 18 years ago. So really good. The thing I should say about Xhekaj is very pleasant to talk to, but if you're an Oilers fan, you don't care. You don't care. You just want to see the Oilers beat them, obviously. Let's get to starting goalies for the Edmonton Oilers tonight. 31-year-old Calvin Pickard getting the nod. 9-4 on the season. 227 goals against average. 919 save percentage. 1 shutout in 14 games this season. Pickard versus the Habs. Lifetime 1-4 record. 297 GAA. 905 save percentage. 1 shutout in those 5 games versus Montreal over the course of Pickard's career. At the other end of the rink, it'll be 27-year-old Sam Montembeault. 13, 12, and 6, 311 GAA, 905 save percentage in 32 games this season. Montembeault versus the Oil, a 1-2-1 record, 326 goals against average, and 895 save percentage in the 4 career appearances versus Edmonton. So there you go. There are your starting goalies as well as your anticipated lineups for tonight's game between the Oilers and the Canadiens. One more time, I'll send out the question of the night. Which original 6 team is the most hated in your opinion and why? Text us 780-218-9999 and of course get in on the nasty chat. And I'll read those out as we roll through the show heading into the Oilers and Habs down at Rogers Place. I should add, portions of this hour brought to you by our friends at 100.3 The Bear, Edmonton's best rock. Listen to the Nielsen and Yukon Jack and McCord hit every morning. Check out Jess Jackson on your way home every afternoon on your way from work. Those guys are our dear friends. We love them, and it's great to be able to cross-promote with the crew from the Bears. So check out Uke and McCord with Dusty in the mornings, and then obviously switch it over to us after you listen to the hit. And then when you need to hear some music, go over to them. And then in the afternoons, of course, check out what Jess has going on. She is absolutely fantastic, and we absolutely love the crew over at the Bear, obviously spending all those years down the hallway from them. All right, let's go into some more audio and video. We're going to go inside the Oilers locker room. Zach to come, what say we?
Hello? You there, Tommy?
I'm here.
Oh, that it just glitched out a bit.
Let's go to Knobloch.
All right, let's do it. Let's do it.
Will Troy Stecher be in tonight?
Troy will be in, yes. We're just going to rest Desi just a little bit. Not that he's a little nagging injury, but we think it's best just to give him a little extra time.
I know you have faith in both goalies, but who goes tonight?
Pix is playing tonight.
So I know you had Stecher skating with Nurse a little bit yesterday. Maybe just a thought on, based on the minutes he was playing before, he's able to take some minutes and want to give that pairing a look?
Well, mostly just getting him to play his natural side. The other game, his first game, he had played left side, which makes it a little more difficult. Enough pressure as it is, playing your first game in Edmonton, wanting to make an impression, and then you're making it more difficult for him already with making him play his offside. And he has a lot of experience doing that, but obviously we feel he's a better player on his natural side, his right side, and this is more of an opportunity for him to just play his game.
Are McLeod and Fogle showing you enough in that spot that it's, obviously you're continuing to give it a look, but you feel like there's some potential for that to continue working?
Potential, I think they've shown they've had a lot of success. Looking at Leon's line mates, expected goals for Fogel and McLeod are among the top. I think with their speed helps defensively, just being able to break up plays, especially the other night against a line like McKinnon with all their speed. And, in the third period, they weren't playing together, but you could see that a lot of the offensive opportunities that were created, Fogel, McLeod, a lot to do with it. So, for them to be in the top 6, I think they've earned it, and I think they are, worthy of that.
And what have your numbers said about the other end of the ice for them?
I think they're good. I think it's difficult on those kind of numbers and they can be skewed on offense. You can be dependent on the defense that you're out there with scoring for, and obviously on the defensive side of it also, that if they are with a good defensive pair that don't make mistakes, that helps them. But I don't see many mistakes defensively from those two, and I think they're two that we can rely on to chip in offensively and are good defensively.
I'm sure you've known Trevor Letowski quite a bit as an opposing coach in the OHL. What do you recall the way his teams played?
I have a lot of respect for Trevor, and especially I remember, I'm not sure what year it was. I believe might have been 2015. I think we played in the first round. I think it was McDavid's last year with us, and they gave us a really hard series, and we were, I believe, the first or second seed in the Ontario Hockey League, and they were near the bottom. But he had them well coached and well prepared, and the team played very hard for him. So, that was my first getting to know Trevor a little bit. Coaching against him a couple more years after that, just realized a very good, qualified coach.
Just wondering, in preparing for this game, what you've seen the Suzuki line for the Canadiens has been giving teams some trouble. I mean, what do you see as a challenge in terms of getting people?
Well, a lot of teams at this time have got new players, new energy, either through a trade or calling up players, and a lot of these players are playing very hard and playing for a position next year, and that's just makes it a lot more difficult for the team, for our team, and. Another thing, the challenge for us is how well their top line is with Suzuki and Caulfield. Obviously, having the majority of the offense, but that top line is giving a lot of teams a lot of fits.
Your father, Bob, was a Montreal fan, right? Did he not bring you to Edmonton? Do I have the story right that he brought you to when you were a kid in to see the Canadiens?
My dad is a Montreal Canadian fan, and we used to come to Edmonton and Calgary. We did a couple trips because Montreal used to come to make their West Coast trip right after Christmas. So there was a couple times that we would come and watch the Canadiens play.
Are there pictures buried somewhere of you in a Habs jersey?
There are. There might be a Montreal Canadian jersey or two in my closet back of the farm.
G would like some of those to I already asked. Who was your favorite player?
The jerseys that I have were Stéphane Richer, Lyle Odeline, Brian Scrudland, some Saskatchewan roots. That's where I'm from. So, those are three of my jerseys.
A lot of grit there.
A lot of grit. And some goal scoring with 44.
All right, that was Chris Knobloch talking about his affection for the Montreal Canadiens, as we'll call it. And then we got this text that came in because the question of the night was this. Simply put, which Original Six team is the most hated, in your opinion, and why? And so you had Knobloch talking about being a Saskatchewan boy who liked the Habs, and I said earlier, it's a lot of Saskatchewan residents, folks, who really like the Toronto Maple Leafs, in my experience. living and working in Lloydminster for a couple of years. There was like half the newsroom was from Sask. We had some Regina. We had some Speedy Creek, obviously Swift Current. We had some people from the Meadow Lake area. We had a bunch of Saskatoon people. They all loved the Leafs. But a little bit of a difference there from Chris Knobloch liking the Montreal Canadiens, being a Saskatchewan guy. So interesting to see. We got a couple of texts I want to get to. 780-218-9999. Conroe, Texas says, Bruins most hated franchise in my house. 100% former Canadiens fan wife hated their farm team. Back to Edmonton Flyer days. All right. Conroe, Texas also throws in a beware trap game. Interesting. My dad, Reno, says, I received a wool Canadiens jersey from my godmother when I was 6 years old and just starting to skate and watch hockey. The jersey was itchy as hell, but Canadiens became my favorite team. Most hated team was the Maple Laughs due to the extreme rivalry. Still hate them today. Hello, Dad. Thanks for watching, and I know you hate the Maple Leafs, but happy to share that with everyone. Another one, I think it was Bobby LaFrench said, hated Boston and Toronto. No surprise. I think I'm getting that right. Bobby LaFrench, right? I think so. 780-218-9999. If you want to get in on the conversation, how you feeling going into this game? Oilers and Canadiens. Edmonton 40-21-4. Montreal 25-31-11. It is game number 66 on the season. Tom Gazzola and Zach Tacum coming at you from Hudson's Bourbon Street at West Edmonton Mall. By the way, you can join us next week at Hudson's White Ave on the 21st when the Oilers hit the road. Looking forward to that one. Oh, pardon me. That is later this week. That is Thursday against the Buffalo Sabres. And then on Saturday, we're also on White Ave for the Oilers and those hated Toronto Maple Leafs. So come on down. I've got some GCs to give away. I got some $10 ones. We've got some $20 GCs. Just come by, say hi, and I will hook you up. People starting to trickle in. I've seen some Canadiens jerseys walk in. I've seen some Oilers hats and T-shirts, and people getting ready for tonight's game. So come on down, say hi. I've got some lanyards and some stickers as well if you are so inclined. All right, Zach Tacum, time now to get to Matthias Ekholm from this morning.
From the emotional roller coaster ride that was Saturday's game against Colorado to a team like the Habs trying to wrap up the season strong, is that difficult for a player in your opinion?
No, I think that's the normal NHL life towards the end of the year. You know, you have some teams that are just trying to make an impression for maybe next year and finishing strong this year, and then you have some teams that are pushing for spots in the playoffs, and that's just the nature of the schedule, and you'll have to prepare for both.
Yes, in terms of the way you guys are defending, excuse me, are you happy sort of night in, night out with, you know, the quality of defense you're throwing out there? What sorts of things are you trying to tweak as a group as you refine it for the playoffs?
Yeah, I think it's been good for sure. I don't think we've let in too many goals in games as of late, but I also think there's room for improvement. I think there's I find it that when we break pucks out clean, that's when we're at our best, and we don't spend so much time in the D zone, and that usually works in our advantage. So I think there's that's a focal point for sure for us to make sure we come back, we talk to each other, and make sure we have some clean exits, because that usually leads to a lot of offense for our group and a lot of puck possession. So with 15 plus games left here, it's about that time where you're trying to tweak everything you can and make it as good as you can. But at the same time, it's not rocket science. It's not like we're going to get away from what we've done all year. It's more about finding little details, little advantages here and there that can make our team better.
Perfect. Sorry, guys, just one for me. I know you don't see him a lot, but Montreal's top line, so Koski, Suzuki, Caulfield, just maybe a scouting report on their young team and that top line and the challenges they might do.
Yeah, I mean we don't play them. I played them once, I guess, in Montreal this year, but I don't. I know they're young, talented players. obviously their leading line. So in that matter, I don't have much else on them, to be honest with you. I think we more or less focus on ourselves. We know when we do, and as I said earlier, when we play our game, I feel like we can put teams on their heels, and obviously that's the goal to do that tonight as well.
What are your early impressions of Troy Stetcher?
Really, really nice guy. Obviously, I was down and out with the game he played, so I didn't see too much of his game, but I've seen him in practice, and I mean, he's been around a long time, so I think he comes just as advertised, and he'll be an important piece for us moving forward.
All right, there was the Viking, Matthias Ekholm. I see people in the nasty chat saying that Ekholm speaks the truth, and that's from Joel. Yes, pretty honest, pretty straightforward there, and we'll see if the Oilers can maintain the intensity today against the Montreal Canadiens. 780-218-9999, and then via the nasty chat as well. Nasty chat's having a good time already. Keep those texts coming in. I will read them out as we roll along this evening. This text says, hey, Tommy, only us good SAS boys are true to our Riders and our Oilers since 1972. WHA on ITV, go Oil, and proud to say I survived the 80s. John from the Fort with that one. John from the Fort. I can only imagine what it was like in the 70s and the 80s, and then when the team finally went to the NHL. I had the opportunity to meet a lot of the WHA Oilers in the last year of Rexall Place, and great guys, obviously. Did not have the same, I don't know, star power, I guess, but they were still obviously very well known in Edmonton and Alberta in the WHA days, but the NHL has been the league, and the WHA was the rogue league. But I always appreciated the WHA guys and hearing their stories, and a lot of them are still kicking around, and some of them pop by, and they're in the alumni room at Rogers Place. I can only imagine what that league was like back in the 70s when the Oilers were a part of the WHA, and then when they finally got to the NHL, getting to know some of the guys from the 80s teams, hearing their stories and everything that they did. Sounds like it was a good time, John from the Fort. Sounds like a real good time. And when you win and the city's partying and things are good, usually you have some fun and you have some stories and some legends are created. Keep those texts coming in, 780-218-9999. I love stories like that. Time now to get to Game Changers, brought to you by Damon Bunting Remax Elite. Damon Bunting, consistent top-producing realtor in Greater Edmonton and among Western Canadian Remax realtors. He and his team would love to help you find that right home or make the move from your current home. He's community-driven, and he understands what it takes to make a difference in our city. Check him out, DamonBunting.com. Or visit his Instagram at Damon Bunting Real Estate. All right, Zach, to come. This one is you and I tonight. And I'm going to start this one with number one, which is maintain intensity. We heard Chris Knobloch a few minutes ago. The first question in the scrum was from me, and I asked him about that. Is it tough to maintain intensity because you go from this unbelievable game on Saturday where you know you need to get up for it? You're facing a Colorado Avalanche team that you might go toe-to-toe against in the postseason, and you get up for it, you're galvanized, you're feeling it, and you have this great game. You lose in overtime. You had a lead late in the third period. You lost it. How do you maintain intensity against a Montreal Canadiens team that, let's not kid ourselves, is just mopping up the rest of the season? And he said that that's not something that's really a concern, or pardon me, I asked Ekholm about that, and he says it's not a concern. It's part of the day-to-day life of an NHL franchise. You know, some opponents are just kind of riding out the rest of the year, while others are teams that you're gunning for because you know you might go up against them in the postseason. So he doesn't think it's a big deal. But the reason why I bring it up tonight is because the Oilers have had their struggles maintaining intensity against some of the lesser teams in the National Hockey League. Am I crazy for suggesting that?
No, you're not crazy at all. Honestly, I've thought about this for a few years as a fan of the Oilers and viewer of the game, I've seen that every time that they seem to play against these teams that aren't really in the run for the postseason, they let their foot off the gas and they don't give it their all. They always seem to find the win against the hard team, and they almost give away games. Not always, but they do seem to give away games when they know it should be an easier opponent. And that's just not how you want to play the game. You want to play 100%, not full intensity, of course. Like, you do want to play your game, but you don't want to let your foot off the gas enough to give those opportunities for the team that you're facing, who you should beat, to get the win against you.
Zach DeCum, I'll say this. I would like to see 100% full intensity all game, every game. Is that realistic? No. In theory, should it happen? Yes. But if you start with 100% intensity and you take it to the opposition, especially a team that's got some injuries like the Habs do, a team that's just riding out the rest of the season like the Habs are, you should, in theory, be able to have the game in hand relatively early, or be in control, or know and play with confidence, and have the ability to just say, all right, we've got this game. Now, that means getting a goal or two maybe in the first period. That means building on your lead in the second period and then being able to just close it out in the third period. That would be the perfect scenario for tonight. But like you alluded to, you're a kid from Edmonton. You grew up here, and you have these doubts. Now you're a media member, so you got to play it by the line. You got to ride the line as best as you can and be as objective as possible. But those instincts and those feelings come to you for a reason, because they've pissed those points away in the past. So I fully understand that, and that's why I say maintain intensity for number one. All right, Zach DeCum, you ready for number two?
Always.
I watched those goals that they let in the third period and in overtime the other night. I'm sitting there with my uncles and my brothers, and I'm watching that game, and I'm like, oh, boy, why didn't they clear that? Oh, boy, it's coming back towards the net, and it's in the back of net, tie game. And then as the Avalanche in overtime are regrouping, I'm seeing them kind of get the puck deep, and I'm looking at the ticks on the clock, and I'm like, uh-oh, this isn't good. Tie him up. Bouchard, tie up McKinnon. Why didn't you tie him up? Oh, boy, they scored. No mental lapses. Those were mental lapses. In the third period, there was a couple opportunities where the Oilers had to clear that puck. They don't. It winds up in the back of the net. That costs them a point. They get into overtime. You know what happens? They have a mental lapse. Evan Bouchard does not tie up Nathan McKinnon. Don't get me wrong. I'm going to give Nathan McKinnon 100% props for everything he did on that play. Didn't give up till the final buzzer. It's a cliche, but that's literally an example of doing that. And that's a pro's pro, one of the best in the world, and Nathan McKinnon leading the league in scoring right now. And you don't tie him up to eat up that last 0.5 seconds. He hits Lehkonen. Lehkonen unchecked by Leon Draisaitl, and he buries it past Stuart Skinner. No mental lapses. Zach DeCum.
Well, it's almost like if you know it's the end of the overtime and you're like, okay, this is one last rush. Maybe they looked up at the clock. Maybe they saw that it was running down. You never want to let it off. You have
Not
to
at
be
all.
there. You have to be there. You have to be on top of your game, especially in those 3-on-3 situations, to get that extra point. And the implications of that game on the weekend, I mean, they matched up in the playoff 4 in the Western Conference Final, and they can very likely match up again. That probably will be the matchup. I believe it will.
Ooh, that's a hot take, young man.
Yeah, and I believe that you can't do that. I've been there. I've done that where I've been playing in a game, and it'd be almost the end of the game, and I would just be like, oh, okay, the game is dying. It's dying. Maybe I could just breathe it out, just glide on the ice.
Go easy. No, you can't.
Never. And my coach has
Never.
always told me that. You got to play until there's a whistle, until the buzzer, whatever it is. You just can't do that, and it's what happens. They're only human as well. They make mistakes. Everybody
don't let
does.
them. Do not let them off the hook for that.
I'm not letting them off the hook. It happens, but to have it happen twice, in one game. Bouchard, I mean, he's a fantastic player. You do that,
He was a part of it, too.
He was a part of it.
I'm not
He wasn't
picking
the
on
whole-
Bouchard.
No.
Yeah.
And I'm not either. I love Bouchard. He's been a good part of the Oilers team, exciting player. And he's made those defensive mistakes before. And
yes,
you have to have your body on that guy. In
Tie him up.
3-on-3, it is harder as well because there is so much more space, but you have to bite down on the play. You don't let up. You play even harder when it's those situations, and it didn't seem like he really was in that moment.
No mental lapses, Zacticum.
No mental
lapses. All
like
right.
I did
it
with the
is,
technical difficulties.
it is Game Changers brought to you by Damon Bunting Remax Elite. Number 1, maintain intensity. Number 2, avoid mental lapses. Number 3, start to finish. The proverbial 60-minute game. This is an opportunity for the Oilers to do that. Obviously, Montreal is going to have the backing of a lot of Habs fans in the building tonight that will provide energy. We talk about how the Oilers, when they go to the Southwest, whether it's in Vegas or when they go to Phoenix or where they go to Anaheim, there tends to be a lot of Oilers jerseys, hats, whatever, fans in general in the building, and they get a bit of a surge and boost from that. You hear the Let's Go Oilers chants. I'll even stretch it to Calgary because we see a lot of Oilers fans in Calgary. You hear the Oilers chants. The guys hear that. That they can hear. Now, if you're an idiot that's yelling through the glass and you're trying to chirp a player on the ice, they don't hear that. But if you've got a few thousand people chanting for your team, they hear that. So, no, this is a start to finish opportunity. Do not let the Habs faithful have a single sliver of opportunity to start to give or try to give the Montreal Canadiens some momentum. We're gonna hear those chants no matter what. But if you're an Oiler and you're on that bench, you want to take that game, quiet that side of the crowd immediately, and then ride it out the rest of the way. This is not a particularly strong Montreal team. You're an Oilers team that has 40 wins already this season. You have, 16 games remaining, 16 games remaining. And you want to do this right. You want to play this for 17 games remaining. Pardon me, bad math. But just take the Habs fans out of it, start to finish, 60-minute effort. You should be okay.
No, 100%. And as you said, the best start to this game would be, you get a couple quick goals early, you play through the second period, and then in the third, you kind of just play shutdown. The Oilers most times this season have not started in the first 10 minutes of the game, just like daylight savings time and maybe you being behind a little bit. They were
thank you. Thank you for reiterating that.
You're very welcome. But
appreciate it.
You got to start when the puck drops. It's that simple. It is harder, easier said than done. But with this team, they've had glimpses of it, and they've had, shine in the shade kind of thing. They haven't done it as well, but they have to keep that consistency and just keep doing that. Play the full 60, and as you said, the Canadiens, they aren't a strong team. So this is a team to kind of showcase that. And with Stetcher in the lineup, he did play against the Caps as well. And I saw that. He played an all right game, in my opinion, there. But now he gets a chance with Nurse. And, you really get to flesh out that game. And the Oilers have easily the better lineup. I mean, almost each and every line is better. Nick Suzuki,
There's no denying it.
no.
They're the better team here, but that's why I'm saying 60-minute start to finish. Just get it done.
Yeah, you just gotta work. Be there. No defensive lapses or anything like that. As I see Tommy Freeze on the screen once again, and there. Now you're back.
I'm back, buddy. Sorry, a little glitch there. We're getting it sorted out. All right, that is Game Changers, brought to you by Damon Bunting Remax Elite. Damon Bunting, check them out if you're looking to get into the market, maybe sell your home. DamonBunting.com is the website, or visit his Instagram, Damon Bunting Real Estate. Number 1, maintain intensity. Number 2, avoid mental lapses. Number 3, start to finish. I swear to God, I know hockey. That is the key to success. That's why I'm not a GM or a coach in the NHL, but filling in for Cass tonight. So there you go. That is Game Changers for this edition of the Oil Stream pregame show. All right, Zach, to come. I think we're going to go and hear from the Montreal Canadiens now. What say we go to, he's not even interim head coach. He's filling in for Marty St. Louis while St. Louis is dealing with some family issues. It is Trevor Letowski.
And Pearson will be out up front. And then on the back end, Kovacevic's in and Struble out. Okay. Yeah.
What's the feeling of seeing Kirby Dach practicing with the team?
Well, we love seeing him around. You know, we've actually had him in on our pre-scout meetings, me and Marty, for a few months now. So we get to see him on the game day mornings, but to see him on the ice, it's exciting, right? He's a big part of our future. So.
Is the Dvorak ahead of schedule?
I don't want to comment on that because I'm not exactly sure about that. So I don't.
From what you've seen on Saturday against the Flames, what are some of the good things you've done that you would like to replicate, and on the other side, make sure that you correct some of the things that didn't work out for you?
Yeah. Offensively, I think we did probably enough to win the game. We generated a lot of chances. If anything, critically, offensively, we didn't get inside enough, and the goaltender saw too many pucks, but we had 21 chances, so that's normally enough to generate some goals. That was positive. There was negatives defensively and with our puck management and the offensive blue line, both off the rush and in our ozone play. When the puck gets high, we got to manage pucks better. Like we want to let our players make plays, that's for sure. And Marty is always encouraging that, but can't turn pucks over against Cal. Well, you can't turn pucks over against anybody, but especially against this team. So we talked about that as something that we certainly need to clean up. We need to be more engaged defensively and some breakdowns just with our system and stuff. And it's against a team like this with world-class players. You need just a group effort on the defensive side of the puck, and especially on the road when it's hard to get matchups. And we know they move their McDavid around with Draisaitl sometimes and things like that. So it's hard to get hard matchups, but collectively we need to be ready for that challenge.
Was it a difficult decision with Tanner? I don't know, he's a veteran guy and probably has a lot of value for other things, but how did that decision come about? Was it difficult wiring that information to him?
Yeah, it's always difficult with a respected player that's played a long time in the league with the number of games that he's played. But that's something that we've kind of been talking with Tanner about, that we've been thinking about possibly taking out of the lineup. So it's not like it came out of nowhere for Tanner. I spoke with him yesterday. It's not something that he woke up today and found out about. We respect him a lot as what he's given us, but. We've got some pretty good young players that haven't been in the lineup that much, and we just felt, especially tonight, to get some energy, we thought Pez would be a good option.
David Reinbacher is with Laval now. Just wanted to see if you got a chance to watch much of him play and thoughts on him joining the organization here.
I mean, for us on the NHL staff, just the season's moving so quickly. I'd be lying to say I've watched a lot of his games, but he's obviously a very, very important player for us moving forward. And I know the whole organization's excited to get him over here. And it always takes a little bit of time to acclimate to the North American ice. So I feel it's going to be invaluable experience to get him some games this year to kind of tee him up for a good season next year wherever he plays.
And Chris Knobloch talked a little bit about coaching against you in the OHL. I want to get your perspective about coaching against him in the OHL and now the NHL.
Well, a very respected coach. In the Ontario Hockey League when he was there, he had great teams in Erie, and I always admired the way that his demeanor with his teams, and just there's so much player. The hockey world's so small that I've run across a lot of players that played for Chris, and it's nothing but positive. His reputation's very, very good. He's obviously a good coach. It seems like he has success anywhere he goes, and looks like he's doing the same thing here.
He brought up that first round series in McDavid's last year, and I guess you lost that series, but he was pretty impressed with the way you guys.
Oh yeah.
What were your memories of that playoff series?
Yeah, that was an exciting time in the OHL because we knew we had a generational player playing, and at the time I was coaching Sarnia. We had a young team, so we were, a pretty big underdog in the first round, but yeah, we played them pretty hard. If I remember right, I think we beat them game 1. We were really excited about that, and I think they ended up winning in 5, but we pushed them, we put them into overtime a couple times, and it was exciting. It was a good stepping stone for that young team in Sarnia to play against a player like that. So,
do you see similarities in your team now with that Sarnia team and kind of going against the power team?
I don't know, but I mean, it's the NHL, like in junior hockey, there's not as much parity, I would say, because if you're a younger team, you're just really not built to win. It's tough. I feel like we expect to win every game here. It doesn't matter who we're playing against at the National Hockey League level, and so tough to compare that.
Trevor, you said yesterday that you're in touch with Marty. Kind of a two-part question. Have you been today, or do you expect to sort of be in contact with him today? And part two, I know it's been a bit of a whirlwind, and not that you weren't ready for game 1, but do you feel like you've had a little more time to be ready to be the head coach for this one?
Yeah, I mean, I'm talking to Marty pretty much every day. Yeah, we're going to have a little chat with him, with the staff, actually after I'm done here. So just to discuss a few things about tonight. So yeah, it's pretty constant communication with him. And then as far as the other question, yeah, it did happen quickly for sure, and things came at us, real fast. There was a morning meeting that had to be prepared that is not. It's just done differently, obviously, when Marty's around. It's his meeting, so, and plus just the emotions surrounding it. We had to be prepared for that meeting. I mentioned the other day we have a pretty good room, a tight culture, and the players didn't know what was going on, and it kind of came out of nowhere for them when we had that meeting in the morning at 10:30. So we had knew what was going to be happening the night before, but the players didn't. So that was a really important meeting. But yeah, it happened fast, and we feel like we got our feet under us a little bit. We've only had one game together in this format, but certainly feel a little bit more comfortable tonight than a couple days ago.
You had a good performance against the Panthers, the Bruins, the Leafs. Overall, I mean, technically, defensively, how different is the beast here tonight compared to those teams who you had good performance?
Yeah, I mean, it's a little bit of a new challenge. I mean, they're a little bit of an outlier as far as what they bring offensively. There's no question about that. But we are leaning a little bit on how we were able to play against those teams that you just mentioned, that we played, pretty responsible game, and we gave ourselves a chance to win. And like in Florida or say Tampa on the road, that's something we weren't quite able to do in seasons past. So we'll lean on that a little bit. We also played Edmonton pretty well when they were in at the Bell Center. So we lean on that a little bit about, just go back and just review that game and what we did well, and we limited their top guys for the most part. They scored a power play goal in overtime to beat us 2-1. So it was a good game for us. So we need more of that, but we certainly need. We can't have passengers. We need all of our players at the top of their game to win.
Or more questions, and then we're opening the locker room.
Are they more physical now? I mean, Edmonton than they were probably before.
Yeah, I think so. There's a little bit of heaviness to them, and they're organized and dangerous, and some teams, it's hard to really zero in on one thing offensively with them, because they're dangerous from all areas when you basically turn a puck over all 200 feet. So they're very good off the rush, and they're very good in the offensive zone. So it's a tall task for us for sure, but we're excited. I think our guys are excited to play, and we'll be ready to go.
How would you describe Juraj Slavkovsky's strength mentally as a 19-year-old player?
I mean, yeah, we're really happy with his progression. It's not easy, especially in Montreal, to be first overall pick, and I think we've done a pretty good job with him, giving him a chance for success. It's at the beginning of the season he was struggling offensively, and I think that Nick and Cole kind of took him under his wing, and Marty had a lot of discussions with those three players, or in particular Nick and Cole about helping Slav through tough times, and he's grown up a lot, and he's having a good season now, and he continues to get better and better. And we're putting him in tough situations. I mean, he's playing against top lines most nights, and so is Cole, and that's not easy, and that's not something that Cole Caulfield probably expected coming into this year, but we feel it's going to pay dividends for him down the road. If we want to win games, consistently in this league, we need our top players, those top young guys, to be able to defend, and we feel all three of those players have taken steps on that side of the puck this year.
All right, that was Trevor Letowski, who's taken over the reins from Marty St. Louis behind the Habs bench. If you didn't hear it, Marty St. Louis dealing with a family issue, so he will be gone from the team indefinitely due to personal reasons, and Letowski steps in as head coach, call it on an interim basis, unofficially. So he did outline there that he does speak to Marty St. Louis every day, and St. Louis is involved, obviously, in meetings and game plan and all of that. It's just Letowski is running the bench. If you're going, I know Trevor Letowski. Where do I know him from? He did play for the Coyotes, the Canucks, the Jackets, as well as the Carolina Hurricanes. He wrapped up his career back in 2009-10, playing in the KHL with Astana Baris. If I'm not saying that right, whatever. He was in the KHL. All right. 780-218-9999 if you have some text that you want to send in. I do have updated lines for tonight when it comes to the Oilers. This comes from our good friend Jack Michaels, play-by-play voice on the TV side of the Edmonton Oilers. You're going to see McDavid between Kane and Hyman. Kane getting bumped up to the top line. Can they get him going? We shall see. Draisaitl between McLeod and Fogle. Adam Henrique with Ryan Nugent-Hopkins on his left. Derek Ryan on his right. Sam Carrick between Matthias Janmark and Corey Perry on defense. Nurse with Stetcher. Ekholm with Bouchard. Kulak with Ceci. Calvin Pickard is your starter for the Oilers. One more time for those in the back. McDavid centering Evander Kane and Zach Hyman. Interesting. Leon Draisaitl between Ryan McLeod and Warren Fogle. Adam Henrique between Ryan Nugent-Hopkins and Derek Ryan. Sam Carrick with Matthias Janmark and Corey Perry. So Connor Brown is out of there for tonight. Nurse with Stetcher. Ekholm with Bouchard. Kulak with CC. Pickard is your starter for the Habs. We do know their lineup here is what they are rolling out. Suzuki between Cole Caulfield and Juraj Slafkovsky. Alex Newhook with Joshua Waugh and Joel Armia. Jake Evans between Brendan Gallagher and Josh Anderson. Colin White with Michael Pezzetta and Raphael Harvey Pinard. Michael Matheson paired up with Caden Gooley, the former Oil King. Arber Xhekaj with David Savard. Jordan Harris with Jonathan Kovacevic. Out for the Habs, Christian Dvorak. Torn pectoral. Kirby Doc, IR, torn ACL, MCL. The local product, and then Tanner Pearson and Jaden Struble are the healthy scratches. The Canadiens throwing out Sam Montembeault, the 27-year-old netminder, 13, 12, and 6 with the 311 GAA 905 save percentage in 32 games this season. Montembeault versus Edmonton, 1-2-1 with a 326 GAA 895 save percentage in 4 games lifetime versus the Edmonton Oilers. I want to get to this one. I saw it from Penner's Pancakes. Says, hey, decent scrap between Delorier and Reeves. Yeah, busy night in the National Hockey League. 13 games. Let's get you up to speed on what's going on so far in the NHL. You've got Boston leading Ottawa 3-1. Just wrapping up the second period in Beantown. 2-2. Columbus and Detroit in Motown after 2. New Jersey leads Pittsburgh in the second intermission by a score of 2-1. The Winnipeg Jets up 3-1 on the Rangers after 2 at MSG. Philly up 3-0 on the Leafs after 2. Carolina leads the Islanders on the island 3-0 midway through the second period. 1-1 in Nashville between the Preds and the Sharks. 2 minutes left in the first period there. 1-1 as well in St. Louis. Avs visiting the Blues after 1. We've got the Oilers welcoming the visiting Habs shortly. That one about 20 minutes away as we get you set for it. And then the Ducks get the Minnesota Wild at the Honda Center. And then at Crypto.com Arena, it is the Kings hosting the Blackhawks in Vancouver at Rogers Arena, where you could pay $9 for a small bundle of fries, evidently. If you didn't see that meme or that post, it's awful. The Canucks welcome in the Buffalo Sabres, who are here in Edmonton on Thursday night. And then as well, wrapping up the evening in the NHL, will be the Golden Knights hosting the Tampa Bay Light. The Vancouver thing. There were people getting things confused. Zach, to come. I'm just going to bring it up so that I can bounce it off you as a young man who's conscious about his dietary choices. At Rogers Arena, not to be confused with Rogers Place here in Edmonton, I think there was a small thing of fries, and it came in at $9 or $10. And what they put into the little carton of fries was maybe like 10 juicy, golden, delicious fries. And someone posted a picture. I don't know if it's at all related to there was a new hotel and casino resort that opened up in Vegas, and it was like a $25, $30 plate of nachos, and there were literally like 6 nachos, each like loaded up with all the fixings. I don't know if it was one of those situations, Zach, to come, but if I got that little thing of carton of fries for $9 or $10 and there's like 10 fries in there, I would be like, excuse me, I paid $10 for this. I think you should be putting more fries in this cart. Not to be confused with Rogers Place. We're talking Rogers Arena in Vancouver, right?
Right. And, you know, like, I don't know if they have the same fries because they're both named Rogers Center. Like, I don't know if they're same supplier. I don't know if it is. Okay, because the fries that I saw in that picture, I've had fries just like that, and honestly, as bad as the portion size might be, and this sounds insane, but it might be worth it because those are the best 10 fries you'll ever eat in your life. But seriously,
get out of here.
No, but to
you're
be honest,
crazy.
I am. I'd never pay that much. I'd want more. Like, if I paid for that much and got them, I would be upset. I would go tell somebody about it. I would get mad. Like, some of the portion sizing is insane. And like here in the city, I mean, you buy like what? I think it's like popcorn and 2 beers. It's like $40 too. So some of the stuff is insane, but like, you know what? I love the popcorn there. The beer, like, it's all good. I wouldn't pay money for the fries. If somebody bought me those fries, I'd love them. But $8, maybe $4. Even $4 for that many fries is like, like that leaves it's a bad look. It's a bad look. Let's leave it at that.
Rogers Place would love, or Rogers Arena would love you. They would want 18,000 Zacticums because they would put like 10 intricate little fries in a small carton and be like, $10, please. I would be pissed if I saw that. No way I pay $10 for a little carton of fries. Load those things up. Give me some vinegar. Give me some gravy. Give me some hot sauce. Let's go, because I'm at a game and I know you're getting gouged. I would say to them, this is unacceptable.
Oh, yeah. But
anyway.
But one place that doesn't give you bad portion sizes is Hudson's. Honestly, you go there, you pay like barely anything. I paid like $13 for this poutine. It filled me right up, and it was great, honestly.
And you're a growing boy.
And I could have had more, but I was full. I could have fit more. Doesn't mean I need more, but I am growing.
Well done. Well done, Zacticum. We're down here at Hudson's on Bourbon Street, inside West Edmonton Mall. Come by, see me. You can't miss me. I'm right at the front door. People ask me if they can sit down. I have had people ask me if they can drop off their resume today. I've also had people ask me if or what time we're open till. I don't know. I don't work here, but I can tell you I've got some GCs to give away. Come down. I've got a ton of 20s. I've got some 10s. If you just want a beer, I'll hook you up. And if you don't have anywhere else to watch the game, come by, say hi. I've also got some decals and stickers and some lanyards to give away. It's Tuesday night here at Hudson's West Edmonton Mall. The staff is fantastic. Jeff, the bartender, is great. Kylie and Jackie, the waitresses, so good to deal with, and I'll be here. So if you want to come and chat with me, watch the game, I'm here. I'm doing this. And we absolutely love it. Big thank you to everybody down here at Hudson's on Bourbon Street. By the way, we're on Hudson's White Avenue for the Sabres-Oilers game on Thursday night. Same thing. It should be a lot of fun. Lots of GCs and giveaways and great deals to take advantage of for sure. All right, Zach, to come. Do we have any more Habs audio to get to really quickly?
Yeah, we got Caden Gooley on the other side if we want to tune into him and hear his story.
Yes.
All right, let's go into the Habs locker room and hear from Caden Gooley.
You play a little bit with David Winbecker at the training camp. What do you like about him?
Yeah, I mean, he's solid. He's just a mature player already for his age, and he can do it all over the ice. He defends well. He's good offensively. So I think it'll be fun to see him starting with Val and see him play a little bit of pro hockey in North America. So I'm excited to kind of see him and follow him along a little bit here. So.
You don't get a lot of opportunities to come back to Edmonton and play. What's your feeling like being back at Rogers Place Ice here?
Yeah, no, it's nice to be back. I mean, obviously, look at the banner first, and kind of brings back old memories. And saw that new mural there in the concourse there. That's kind of cool to see. Me and a couple of the guys up there. So just a lot of memories, and just saw some of the Oil King staff today earlier this morning. So. It just feels like home. Yeah, it's nice to be back for sure.
What was that moment like when you got dealt those huge things, like 6 players? But just for a young guy to be involved in such a big deal, what do you remember about that?
It was a weird day. I was at the rink in PA, and they announced the World Junior Camp roster, and was kind of dealing with that, and then. Found out later on in the afternoon that I got traded, so it was kind of a packed day and a lot of different emotions. Obviously, PA was a huge part of my junior career, and I loved it there. But I was excited to get to come home and play for the Oil Kings and a team that I've been watching growing up my whole life. So it was special that I obviously get to do that, and worked out well for us. So yeah.
You played basically 100 games so far in the NHL. How would you rate your progress, especially from like last season to this season?
Yeah, I think. I mean, obviously, there's ups and downs. There's times when you feel like when things are going really well and you're feeling good, and then obviously it's the NHL. It's the best league in the world. There's downs, and there's times when maybe things aren't going your way, and you got to deal with that. So I think just for myself, just learning to deal with that a little bit better. And but besides that, I mean, I see a lot of progress in my defensive game, and something that I've always taken pride in is defending well. And I mean, just last year, just a lot of little details that you have to learn, and all these players are so skilled, and all your details have to be there on point every night, or else make you look silly. So just learning that, and learning the pro side of the game was huge, and still learning lots. So
because of the situation, Caden, do you expect Trevor to be different with you because now he's in charge?
I mean, I don't think really he'll change much. I think Ludi, he's a pretty chill guy. He obviously has a lot of experience in the league and in coaching, so I don't think he's got to change much. Everyone in this room respects him, respects all of our coaches, and he's our HC right now, and I'm going to treat him like it. And I mean, he's professional about it. He knows that he's got a job to do, and all the coaches got a job to do, and got to step up in Marty's absence. So.
One question.
Thanks, guys. Merci.
That is a young man that sounds like a grizzled pro, Caden Gooley, out of Sherwood Park, sounding great there, that's for sure. Hey, guys, how you doing? All right. Caden Gooley there will be using the one stick that Rogan Dean, the equipment manager of the Oil Kings, had left over. That was his. If you didn't catch it, I tweeted about it earlier. Caden Gooley did not have enough sticks, his preferred sticks, Bauer. He's got some CCMs that he likes the Bowers, so he's trying to use the Bowers. He only got a handful sent to him. Broke the last one in Calgary on Saturday and was going into Edmonton. And Bauer said, hey, we're going to send you some for this trip that the Habs are on. It's the longest trip of the year. And we're going to send him to Vancouver. So he's in a bit of a bind. He goes to Rogan Dean from the Oil Kings, says, hey, do you happen to have any of my old sticks left? Rogan goes and looks in the storage area down at the bowels of Rogers Place, and he's like, I've got one. So Gooley will be using that one tonight, which is a neat little story, and really cool to see him talking about his Oil Kings teammates, the championship team from a couple of years ago, where they were actually at the practice yesterday watching him, catching up with him, head coach Luke Pierce, as well as a bunch of the crew, seeing their former teammate and player. And nice to see him kind of finding his way. He's going to be a good player for a long time for the Montreal Canadiens. A good Edmonton area kid. Caden Gooley, the mercy at the end, I think, was a nice touch. And you like to see it. Kids from around here, good manners, well taught, all that good stuff. And he's going to be a mean, scary, good defenseman for a long time in the NHL. And the Oilers looking to take advantage of Gooley and the Habs. A young team in a situation that isn't particularly ideal. You heard Gooley talking about Trevor Letowski, who's taken over for Marty St. Louis in the interim. St. Louis dealing with some personal issues, family stuff, and no timeline for St. Louis to get back in the fold with the Habs. One more time for you. The Oilers lineup a little bit different tonight. We're going to see Evander Kane up with Connor McDavid and Zach Hyman, Leon Draisaitl with McLeod and Fogle, Adam Henrique centering Ryan Nugent-Hopkins and Derek Ryan. And then you're going to see Sam Carrick, who scored his first goal on Saturday night. Good grinder goal with Corey Perry and Matthias Janmark. And then on defense, Darnell Nurse with Troy Stetcher, Matthias Ekholm with Evan Bouchard, and then Kulak with C.C. Pickard is your starter, Sam Montembeault, for the Montreal Canadiens. Come on down to Hudson's Bourbon Street. I'm here all night long. I've got some lanyards, some GCs. You got some great food and drink deals that you can take advantage of tonight. $18.99 steak sandwich, and then you've got the $12.50 tenders, 4-piece, as well as $5 local craft taps right here, Hudson's Bourbon Street. Zach, to come, any final thoughts from you, my friend?
No, not really. I don't know. I'm excited to see this game. I'm excited to see what the Habs have to offer. I do like the Habs team. I've always thought, they're a nice young team, and I've always liked Caden Gooley, even watching the Oil Kings here in the city. And I'm interested to see, what happens if he breaks that one stick, right? He has to go back to his CCM one, right?
No. I told you what the situation was. Let me look it up again really quickly. I have to bring up the name. He has a couple more.
Okay.
Rogan told me the story today because he passed it along. You're probably going to see it on the broadcast if Gene can get it in. Jagger Gugelka has a similar stick to Gooley's. And Rogan Dean from the Oil Kings also gave Gooley a couple of Jagger Gugelka sticks. Because they're basically the exact same layout and details and build as the Gooley stick. So he's got a few on the bench just in case.
That's good. You always need your stick. You can't really, I always hated using my backup or using somebody else's stick. It's just not a fun time. You have to have your stick. I don't know. I used to like CCM. I used to be a CCM guy, but now I think I'm more of a Bauer guy for my sticks.
Hey, CCM, Bauer, Warrior, they're all a little bit different, but it's all up here for these guys. So they're all really good sticks. They all cost a ton now. Oof. But so that's the situation that Caden Gooley's dealing with. But Rogan Dean, absolutely tremendous. Great work from him. And we'll see if the Oilers can get the win against the Montreal Canadiens. Zach, to come, you kind of look like Caden Gooley, by the way. I'm going to say.
Yeah, that's what you're telling me. I don't believe it, though. Somebody has said that I look like Tyler Myers, and in the nasty chat today, I got that I look like a young Dustin Nielsen. So I don't know. Keep bringing them in. I like hearing who I look like because I've never heard Tyler Myers or the Caden Gooley one, but I see it because of the long hair almost. So I give you the benefit of the doubt.
All right. Thank you. I appreciate that very much. I'll also say this. Great work today, Zach, to come. It's you and me on the post-game show with Sean Bell. Oilers and Habs. Let's see how it goes. To everybody who tuned in and texted in, we appreciate you. Thank you so much for tuning in to the Oil Stream pregame show right here at Hudson's, Bourbon Street. Come on down if you don't have any plans. I've got some GCs and some giveaways to pass along your way. Until the post-game show, enjoy the Oilers versus the Canadiens. For Zach to come, I'm Tom Gazzola saying ciao for now.